are looking for war, says Afenifere. The Pan-Yoruba Socio-Political Organization Afenifere has said that those who are of Fulani extraction are looking for war. This is following the recent violence which erupted at Shasha Market, Ibadan, Oyo State, and the recent killings in the southwest by suspected Fulani herdsmen. The Shasha crisis claimed the lives of many people after a clash triggered by the death of a cobbler by a cart pusher. Two men reportedly had a misunderstanding in the process. The cart pusher, said to be a Hausa man, allegedly killed the cobbler, a Yoruba man. The victim was confirmed dead in a hospital the following morning. This led to crisis in the community between Hausa and the Yoruba. Speaking with Sahara reporters on Monday, Afenifere's National Publicity Secretary Yinka Odumakin said the Fulani are looking for war, hence their orchestration of violence in some southwest states. He alleged that the Fulani wants to cause war in the Yoruba land, so they would commit atrocities to take their heels. Fulanis are looking for war, that's why there has been unceased and orchestrated violence in Ondo and Oyo states, and these are signs that they are looking for war at all costs. Look at the Shasha killings. It's uncalled for, and after they have finished perpetrating the atrocities they took to their heels, they are running away in droves. The herdsmen are in forests, their market men and women are causing violence in the marketplaces, and Garba Shehu says if the president talks, he will be seen as a talkative. So it's clear that what they're looking for, they want to throw Yoruba land into some war. We are being careful about this because we know what they want. That was what Sani Abacha was planning to do in his days while he was throwing money all over the world, and people are saying Abacha did not steal, he was throwing money to fight Southwest. They want to perpetrate this agenda, and we know what they are planning to do. Again, I think that it's just time for the Yorubas to step up and defend their land. I think at this point, they are a huge part of Nigeria. They are a huge ethnicity, a whole tribe. So at this point, they just got to stand up and defend themselves. Point blank period, and that's just how simple it is. Not saying it's simple, but the idea is not that difficult. They have got to defend themselves, because how many opportunities or how many circumstances do we have to go through to actually realize that they have to defend themselves? It's that simple. Someone here says they're looking for war truly, but they will learn a bitter lesson this time around. They have taken our simplicity as coward, forgetting that we are civilized and exposed to human sanctity. The fact is, the energy you give is what you receive. You can't be acting civilized when you're not getting a civilized reaction back. At the end of the day, whether you think it's going below the belt or whatever, you've got to defend yourself. And so it's not necessarily always the case that you must act in a civilized manner, because you have to understand what your opponent is like, and if they're not thinking like you and all they think in their head is defeat, and you're thinking of how to win them over, baby girl, okay, let's not be naive here. You can't have meaningful conversations with somebody who wants to have a fist fight. It's either you fight or you fly, but then it's your land, you can't run away. Where will you run to? Someone here says this is irresponsible statement capable of aggravating the current tribal crisis in different parts of the country. The fact is that Nigeria has gotten to that place where it's already aggravated. People are angry. So what more could happen at this point? Someone says, divide the country now for peace to reign. We better be good neighbors than enemies in the same country. Absolutely. The unity holding us together, politicians have scattered it. Not necessarily politicians have scattered it, because they are small in number compared to the actual amount of people that are Nigerians. So it's a thing of, if the whole country just decided magically something else happened, there's a mass understanding, and everyone just are like, what? We want one Nigeria. Things will actually change. But the likelihood of that happening is very low. It is 0.0000000%. It's not, it's very, very too highly unlikely for that to happen. So again, the country has proven that it really has got to divide. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it just is what it is. Someone here says, this is what the present government want, crisis. That's the thing. I think, are we united enough as people? Because again, the division that they've done over the years in terms of trying to make us, the divisive tactics of, bringing up, our differences in terms of tribes every single time. And of course, that mentality being passed from generation to generation. And again, the circumstances of people where we have more vulnerable people who just want to survive than others. Like, we've got to think of the dynamics here. There are nuances to this topic. It's very, very complicated. And so it's hard. It's very unlikely. Nigeria will most likely have to separate. Again, the chances are higher, but if Nigerians just come together, something happens and we're like, nope, one Nigeria, it absolutely can work. But again, it's hard. Someone here says, for God, what is our crime in Nigeria? We're just northerners. Is it because Buhari is from the north? Just killing innocent people. God never sleeps. Well, the tribalism and the division has allowed for innocent northerners to be killed. So the government hasn't done their job. So you need to understand that the reaction of the people is one which has been suppressed for so long, and now they've taken laws into their own hands. And it's not always the most strategic or the best line of action, but then the responsibility is on the government to make sure that the whole Nigeria is secure. And so with years and years of, tone deafness and just ignorance to the cry of the people are frustrated. And so they're taking their vim out on anyone that they see who they think is a foreigner in their land. It just is what it is. Someone says, before Yoruba would wake up, it would be too late. They look for presidential seat at the expense of their lives. They remained mute when they need to speak. They defended what they should have condemned, all in the name of taking over after Buhari. It's sad. I think at this point, the Yorubas have to step up for themselves. It just is what it is. Again, Nigeria was never really meant to be a country that would survive in the long run. Let's be realistic. Nigeria was made for... the basis of Nigeria's birth was for selfish interests. So, what did we expect? What did we expect? And again, that I think one lesson that we can learn from Nigeria is just never compromise. Never, ever, ever compromise, because you will regret it. And that's just the thing. We compromised because we wanted independence. We compromised the actual leverage for independence. What was the opportunity cost? The fact is that when we got independence, we basically asked for indirect rule from the British because the Fulani, that was what they wanted. And of course, our desperation, the Igbos and Yorubas' desperation to actually, because they actually were together at the time, the desperation for us to be independent didn't make us understand that we were asking for indirect rule. It was basically the same thing, but on paper it was different. So on the basis as to why we got our independence, we got independence for indirect rule, and we compromised our power in terms of allowing the Fulanis, the Hausa tribe, to have more seats in power. That's the genesis of the whole thing. We compromised. And again, thinking contextually, you can't blame the compromise because, again, we were not really in a situation where we had the choice. Beggars can't be choosers at the end of the day. The times that we're making, the demands to be independent, we were colonized, so we didn't necessarily have the power. It's sad, but it is what it is. Someone says here, you mean the war has not started? The Fulani killing machine is already at it. The sad truth is, we've come to this position, and it's not far-fetched for you to say that the Fulani people are looking for war, because again, we've constantly seen that these people have not been, they have not been handled by the law with the full extent and wrath, with the, complexities of their crime. And when you have a government comparing, just not focusing on the right issues, for example, like anything IPOP does, the propaganda against them, or describing them as a terrorist organization, like when you see the constant deflection of responsibility to actually focus on what is going on, it's not a far-fetched idea, especially when this is consistent. It's not a far-fetched idea to believe that, the government might be siding with these atrocities going on. It's not. If you have eyes and you're observant, it's like you don't have to be observant. It's just in our faces. Put what you think about this in the comment section below, and do not forget to like and subscribe.